Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. The New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. The Gateway Arch gleaming in the midday sun. Sunset approaches and Ozzie Smith is in full dive, ready to pick off another difficult defensive chance. Yeah, that's the wizard, folks. Cardinal fans loved him and all their history. Mets, though, sent the Cardinals to defeat last night. That guy broke out of a slump big time. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to St. Louis. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment as the Mets continue their three-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Mets won last night in extra innings. The Mets are now 8-2 on the road this year, and they try and keep the good times going tonight. Adrian Gonzalez is in the lineup playing first base and batting sixth, and Adrian is standing by on the field with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, thanks so much. And Adrian, last night, 10th win of the season already that this team has come from behind to earn the W. Is it something, you've been on a lot of teams where, especially early in the season, wins like that start to build a belief that you're never out of a game?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have such a professional lineup, you know, the guys can go up there. We draw a lot of walks as a team. We get on base. We get guys over. And, you know, yesterday's a great example of we got a couple guys on base with some walks and then a homer from Yoenis, and then, you know, Jay with his homer, and you know, we can score runs that way. You don't need 2, 3, 4 hits to score runs. You can do it on one hit and a couple walks. So it was a great team effort yesterday, a big game for us. You know, going down early and then, you know, chipping our way and getting that big homer from Yoenis was huge. And but that's what we can do as a team. You know, we can hurt you up and down the lineup, and you know, when it comes down to it, we've been having pretty professional at bats to bring in the runs.
Adrian, you've been so healthy for most of your career. Obviously, last year was a tough year health-wise. Currently, how does that back feel?
It feels great. You know, I've been able to go out there, and you know, I can go out there every day right now, feel good about it, and you know, I be ready for when I don't start, be ready to come in and pinch hit, go in the game, do whatever the team needs me to do. So it's definitely been a blessing, and you know, just grateful to God that my back feels good, and you know, I feel good out there.
Have you had to make any adjustments just to keep it healthy?
I mean, yeah, the biggest thing is I can't get into the weight room and just, you know, knock out a bunch of squats and a bunch of leg, and you know, that's been the biggest adjustment is trying to play with the weight room, and you know, making sure I do all my prep work, but still want to be able to do enough in the weight room where I stay strong, and but I don't tighten up too much. So that's been a little bit of an adjustment. I'm still feeling my way, but up until now, Dustin and the crew have done a great job, and you know, Jay-Z's been great, and the whole medical staff has been amazing. So right now I feel great.
Adrian, baseball is such a cat and mouse game. When you're facing a pitcher in Waka who you saw less than a month ago, do you do anything differently? Do you approach this game, those at bats, any differently?
Well, you know, when you're facing you know, especially a Cardinals pitching staff, you got to stay middle. You got to stay for a strike. You know, Yadi's going to call a lot of off speed and hitters counts. He's going to call a lot of, you know, off speed early. He's trying to get yourself out early. So you got to be patient. You got to wait for a mistake and stay in the middle of the plate. You don't try to do too much. You know, you take the walks when they're there because they will give you a lot of walks because they're trying to get you to get yourself out, like I said. So stay in the middle, try to hit the ball up the middle, and hopefully good things happen from there.
Adrian, thanks for the time. Good luck tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Gary, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Steve. It's interesting to hear Adrian talk about the back issue that he's had to adjust to now late in his career, something you had to do as well.
Well, when you're young, you never worry about your health. You come to the ballpark every day, you're ready to chomping at the bit. When you get a little bit older and you start getting aches and pains, and in Adrian's case, a back is so important. You have to turn and rotate your hips. It's a lot of stress on your back. What I did love out of that interview was he knows his catcher. Lou Brock taught me that. Know your catchers. He gave a great pointer right there, and Yadi likes to call off-speed pitches and get you to chase bad balls. That's a veteran talking hitting.
Well, he saw Cespedes at a home run off a 3-1 changeup last night, and that probably convinced him even further. Meanwhile, it's Steven Matz going to the mound for the Mets tonight, and Steven is still trying to hit his stride in 2018.
Well, he's 1-1 on the year, and he got his first start. He got beat by these Cardinals. It's been, I can't even say it's been an up and down year. It's been a struggle for him. He's given up 5 home runs this year. He hasn't gotten deep in ball games. He's got the good fastball. He's got the complement of pitches. He just needs to put it together.
The Cardinals hit Matz hard in his first start of the year, and the Mets did the same against Michael Wacha.
Well, Michael Wacha is 3-1 on the year, but he's got an ERA over 4, and he has been struggling. He has only had 1 good start out of his first 4 starts, but he's been successful against the Mets. He's lifetime 4-2 against the Metros.
Pitchers are striking out more hitters than ever in 2018, but it's 50 years since the year of the pitcher, 1968. Further look at Bob Gibson and that incredible season when we come back. each when you choose Mets at papajohns.com with promo code NYM. And by Hyundai, get a great deal, more than a great deal, on all new Hyundai vehicles. See your Hyundai dealer today. Sunday, May 6th is a McDonald's Family Sunday at Citi Field. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a pair of Jerry Blevins baseball socks, courtesy of Gulf Oil. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/Family Sundays. One of the great statues outside Busch Stadium is of the Hall of Famer Bob Gibson, who in 1968 put together a year for the ages. Gibby had already won Game 7 of the World Series against the Red Sox the year before, and he was dominant again in 1968. Cardinals fell a little short against the Tigers in the World Series that year, but Gibson was never better. A 1.12 ERA for the season through 34 starts, 28 complete games. 13 of those were shutouts over 304 2/3 innings. He was the leader of the greatest pitching year in history, and you got to see him play in person, got to be his teammate. He was a real force of nature.
I saw him in '75, and he was on his last leg. He wound up 11-13 that year, but down the stretch we lost the division in '75 to the Pirates the last day of the season. Gibby was having an off year, but down those last 7 starts he turned it on. I think it was 5-1 down the stretch, and I was sitting most of those games of pinch hitting, and I was watching in the dugout and just him will his way through, and also seeing him with the 2 hours, much like Adrian Gonzalez now, with his bad knees, getting iced before every game he pitched.
Well, in 1968, he was obviously the best that he had ever been, the best pretty much that anybody had ever been, and he was asked in later years whether anybody could do that again.
If it is unreachable, the only reason is because you won't find anybody pitching 300 innings anymore. I think there are plenty of guys that are capable of having that type of earned run average, but I don't know if it's over a span of 300 innings. When I look back on '68, it seems as though I'm looking back at somebody else's career, not my own, because it was something that only happens once in a lifetime.
Gave up 38 earned runs in 34 starts. I mean, think about that, and yet somehow managed to lose 9 games.
The Cardinals did not hit that year. Cepeda was hurt a lot of that year. He was coming off an MVP season. Gibson won the MVP that year.
The larger story, of course, is that nobody hit that year. Carl Yastrzemski won the American League batting title, hitting .301. He was the only guy who had 300 in the American League. You see the year that Louis Tiant had 168 opponents batting average. That was the record that stood until Pedro Martinez broke it by 1 point. Don Drysdale had his great scoreless streak of 58 2/3 scoreless innings. The Cardinals gave up only 472 runs the whole year, which is the fewest ever in a 162 game season. Denny McLain won 31 games. He and Gibson were the MVPs. Both MVPs were won by pitchers.
And look at the strikeouts. Sudden Sam McDowell, almost 300 strikeouts between that trio right there. Bob Boland, who was a flamethrower for the Giants, but really a 500 pitcher most of his career. He had a terrific year, had an ERA below 2. And you know something, Gary, it's kind of puzzling is that they didn't raise the mound in '68. It was still the same height as it had been for several years. And why did it happen in '68? It's inexplicable, but it was definitely the year of the pitcher.
Here's Denny McLain, who was the last 30-game winner in the major leagues. Didn't have a great World Series, but his teammate Mickey Lolich picked him up, and McLain just had the greatest year of his career after winning 31 games. Now, the pitching was dominant then, but look at the strikeout numbers. In 1968, the league ERA, the major league ERA, was under 3, but they averaged fewer than 6 strikeouts per 9 innings. Now strikeouts have gone up incredibly, almost 3 per game, and yet the ERA isn't as good. So striking people out is not the be-all, end-all.
Well, it's the game has changed today, and there were a lot more table setters, old Dick Davalios, Dick McAuliffes, that were hard strikeouts. They were tough guys that put the ball in play. So I think a lot of that has to do with it. And also, I think the slider, which came in the early 60s, was a kind of a slurve. I think it was starting to get perfected and became a dominant pitch.
And they lowered the mound after that year. A few years later, the American League added the designated hitter as a reaction to the year of the pitcher 50 years ago, led by the great Bob Gibson. Mets and Cardinals coming up from St. Louis. Bothering him a little last night, so he's taking the discretion as the better path and sitting out tonight. That gives Wilmer Flores a chance to start at second base for the first time this season as the Mets go up against Michael Wacha.
Well, Wacha, 26 years of age.
First pitch to Michael Conforto, fouled back, and we're underway.
Good cut by Michael. Wacha came his first full season in the big leagues in 2015, was 17-7, but has not pitched up to that level since. He's had his issues.
Conforto walked 3 times last night, and that's kind of been the pattern for Michael. He's drawn a walk in 8 straight games. He just hasn't hit much on this road trip. He's 1 for 13 with 6 walks. So his batting average is .204, but his on-base percentage is .403. And Wacha misses high with a fastball, 1-2. A little cooler tonight. Game time temperature 63 degrees.
A little bit of rain around. There might be some scattered showers tonight, but this game will be played.
And Wacha blows away Conforto with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for the first out of the night.
Well, Cardinal Jeep defense. Jed Jerko, who had a really fine season last year, hasn't had much playing time this year because of the guy in the other corner, Jose Martinez. Has had a terrific start, so he's been getting the lion's share of the playing. Out in the outfield, the newly acquired Marcell Ozuna has yet to catch fire, and Tommy Pham has been lights out so far this year.
Here's Yoenis Cespedes, who hit a monstrous 3-run homer in the game last night, his 5th of the year, and he takes a curveball from Wacha for a strike.
Well, young Weaver had been throwing nothing but behind the count changeups. Got himself in trouble here with 2 men on base. 3-1 fastball, and that is one of the longest home runs hit in this stadium by a visiting player.
Well, it is the longest home run and the hardest hit home run by a Met since StatCast started counting in 2015. 463 feet, 115 miles an hour off the bat, just to the right of Big Mac land and deep into the night. And Weaver is still looking out there. 0-2 from Waka, and he blew him away with a fastball. Waka has come out dealing. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the night.
Pitching up in the strike zone with that fastball. Very aggressive early.
His average fastball velocity this season has been 93 miles an hour. He struck out Conforto at 96, Cespedes at 97. So he has got a little extra life on that fastball to start the night. Here's Jay Bruce, who had a breakout game last night, single, triple, home run, and the homer was the game winner in the 10th inning. If he can hit Waka, that'll be news, because he's just 1 for 31 in his career against Michael Waka.
But he's
1 for 31.
He's in the lineup. He didn't beg out.
It's the lowest batting average for any active hitter against any active pitcher with at least 25 at bats.
Okay, no Waka-itis on this than Jay Bruce.
Well, why would you want to sit after 3 hits last night? And Waka throws that fastball by him, 2-1. So we'll see whether that big night for Jay can translate into some more sustained success. We've seen how streaky Jay can be over his tenure as a Met. Brian Gorman, the home plate umpire, slowing Waka down a bit. And Jay fouls one off. 2-2.
Number 1 is still the best pitch, and Waka is pouring it in this first inning.
And he hasn't even shown off his signature changeup yet. Fastballs and cutters, 1 curveball. And Jay grounds one behind the bag at first. Jose Martinez makes the play, and that retires the side. Dominant first inning for Michael Waka. Mets go 1-2-3. Steven Matz to the mound when we come back. Top of his batting order, he moves Tommy Pham to lead off tonight, with Matt Carpenter getting the night off against the lefty. Colton Wong, the only left-hand batter in the lineup against Steven Matz. Jed Jerko gets a start at third base.
Yes, sir. Those are your Land Rover numbers for Steven Matz. 1-1. Needs to get it going here. A little bit too many walks. Been giving up home runs. 5 home runs.
Tommy Pham had a huge night last night. 3 for 3. He was on base 5 times and a 2-run homer in the first inning against Zach Wheeler that put a crimp in Zach's night. If you go back to the All-Star break last year, only one hitter in the National League has a higher on-base percentage than Tommy Pham, and that's Joey Votto. And Matz quickly falls behind him 2-0.
No, Votto always leads the league in on-base percentage anyway, correct?
And Pham has turned himself, though, into a remarkable player at an advanced age. He's 30 years old, didn't hit his stride till last year. And he smacks one deep to right center. Back goes Bruce onto the warning track. He'll have room to make the catch. So Pham making a bid for another first inning home run, but Bruce catches it halfway back on the track.
Well, that ball really carried, and that leads us right to your Lexus Metropolitan infield. Flores gets the start today at second base. Cabrera has a little stiffness in his hammy. Nothing to worry about, Metsies, you folks out there. He'll be in probably tomorrow. Outfield is the same. Cespedes, that monstrous bomb last night.
You are so reassuring. Here's Dexter Fowler hitting second in the order. And Fowler takes the fastball for a strike.
A lot of guys in this lineup, the Cardinal lineup, struggling against left-handers, Gary.
Pham's the only one who's really been hitting them. Fowler just 1 for 18 from this side of the plate. And he takes the changeup down from Matz 1-1. The Cardinals as a team are hitting 199 against left-handed pitching. However, they are 4-2 when lefty has started against them. So go figure.
You never know, Gary.
Isn't that what Joaquin Andujar said?
That's what we're in St. Louis, so it's appropriate.
Joaquin said you can sum up baseball in one word. You never know. And Matz misses in and low. 3-1. Jose Martinez waiting on deck. Fowler 1 for 5 last night. Been trying to figure out where to hit him in the batting order. Grounded down to third. Frazier behind the bag. A long throw to make and right on target to get Fowler for the second out. Very nicely done by Todd Frazier. Knew he had to hurry against Fowler's speed and made a perfect throw.
Long hop for him. So the big play right here, folks, is not the catch. That's an up hop. Look at that. Plant and throw. Strong arm across the diamond. Beautiful.
So Matz has retired the first two, and now Jose Martinez, who hit the ball hard all night last night until Robert Gazelman got to him in the 9th inning in a game-winning situation for the Cardinals, and Gazelman tied him in a knot and struck him out.
Well, Gazelman is starting to come into his own, and so is Sewald. 4 sparkling innings from those two guys. Actually, excuse me, 3 innings from those guys of relief. Sewald threw 2 shutout innings, and Gazelman threw a zip for 1 inning, got the win.
And then Familia came on to the bottom of the 10th for the save, all after Matt Harvey had made his first relief outing and given up a run in 2 innings. Matt declined to speak to the media after the game last night and declined again today and did it with an expletive thrown in, and I have to say Matt is not doing himself any favors.
Well, there are hard times for Matt right now, but he's got to rally around his teammates.
Well, he did his teammates no favors last night by not talking. He forced a rookie catcher, Tomas Nido, to talk for him, which you have to think was not the right thing to do. Eventually, Matt's going to have to deal with the media. It's just part of the job. 1-2, and the fastball in tight. 2-2 to Martinez. Marcelo Zuna would be next. Martinez off to a great start after a terrific year last year in a part-time role after 12 years in the minor leagues. He's hitting .321, 8th in the league starting the ninth. And he takes the changeup for strike 3 call. Matz gets Martinez looking to end the inning. 1-2-3 goes Steven in the first. No score after 1. Who's undergone 3.5 Tommy John surgeries, last in the big leagues 6 years ago, called up by the Rays today. Ronald Acuna called up by the Braves. He's in the lineup against the Reds tonight, and Albert Pujols now 6 hits away from 3,000. He'll be the 4th in history with 600 home runs and 3,000 hits. Mays, Aaron, A-Rod, and Pujols now 6 hits away.
Wow. Hall of Fame. Extraordinary player, the player of his generation in his prime.
And yet you'd have to say that the Cardinals made the right decision when they allowed him to walk away when they did.
Well, he got that long-term contract that carried him into his age. I mean, look at how old he is now. And
I mean, it's a contract that would never be given out today.
They got wise to that.
Front offices have learned so much more about not giving contracts to 30-plus players that are going to take them deep into their 30s, and even in Albert's case into his 40s.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, your prime years are 28 evidently through 32, and okay, you lose a little reflex. Maybe the players, because they keep themselves in such good shape, extend their prime maybe a year, but then Mother Nature takes over.
Frazier lines one the other way, and he's got a base hit, the first of the night for either side. So Todd on a 3-1 fastball, going hard to the opposite field.
Well, he has been he's a tough out. He walks a lot now. I think he's a better hitter than he's ever been. You know, and you look at his year last year, he had 217, which is not good by any stretch of the imagination. But so far this year, he has done everything right. And here's Wilmer.
Flores getting the start at second base tonight as Drupal Cabrera with a tight hamstring. Wilmer's 8th start this year. The previous 7 all came at first base. Started 10 games at second base last year. And this is his role, to play first, second, third, or maybe even the outfield this year if need be. It's reps in the outfield during spring training this year. He's had 38 at bats so far, hitting .263.
Well, yesterday's media scrum in Nicky Callaway's office, Nicky mentioned that the Mets have such a good bench. I got to find playing time for my bench and keep them ready. But the 48 hours of no playing, the rain out and the off day.
Well, and his bench has done a good job coming off the bench as well. I mean, Wilmer last started on Friday in Atlanta, had a couple of hits. Since then, he's had 2 pinch hitting appearances, drew a walk in both of them. He and Nimmo have both been extraordinary coming off the bench.
Yes, they have. And you got Lagares, who's been hitting the ball good.
Yep. Walker behind 2-0, and Wilmer takes a strike on the corner, 2-1. As Drupal, who was feeling the hamstring going into last night, I asked whether the diving play he made might have exacerbated it, and I was told no, but opting to rest tonight. And Wilmer fouls off the cutter, and it's 2-2.
Oh, do we have to have that engine so loud?
Just emphasizing the power that's inherent in that particular model.
Chevy, to be precise.
ChevyOffers.com. Frazier at first and nobody out, and Wilmer gets the curveball and fouls it away.
Seeing more and more of the face guards now on the helmets, the extension across that exposed side of the face, the jawline. The cheekbone.
I remember last year Wilmer's season ended when he fouled a ball off his nose in Houston.
Never saw that. I don't think Wilmer could do that again if he tried.
Little dribbler. Wacko off the mound. His play will be to first in time to get Flores as Frazier moves up. That's the first out of the inning.
Well, he's in a position to field. He's got long legs. The big guy who walked a 6'5", 215 pounds.
And he is, in almost everything he does, his style of pitching, his facial expressions, is almost a dead ringer for Adam Wainwright, his teammate. There's Adrian Gonzalez. And he takes a curveball inside for ball one. And, you know, what a better role model to have on your ball club than Adam Wainwright as a mentor.
Certainly.
Wainwright's trying to fight through some elbow problems right now. He was actually supposed to pitch last night, got scratched and placed on the disabled list. There's Adam. It's like Walker with a little less facial hair, and maybe a few more years.
Wainwright's got some elbow issues right now, correct? Is that what it is that sidelined him? I wasn't paying attention to you, Gary. I just thought maybe you missed it, and I thought I'd make sure.
I appreciate you picking me up, kid. That's what teammates do.
I was looking at my scorecard. Sorry, I can't hang on your every word. I'd be a nervous wreck by June.
Wainwright, who grew up in Georgia, and Walker, who grew up in Iowa. Gonzalez fouls it away. Walker played his college baseball at Texas A&M, first round pick by the Cardinals in 2012, and the very next year, 2013, he was the MVP of the league championship series. So dominant against the Dodgers that year. Only the third rookie ever to be NLCS MVP. Mike Boddicker with the Orioles in '83, Levon Hernandez with the Marlins in '97, and Walker in 2013. He only had less than half a season under his belt at that point. That's the kind of impact he made immediately. Remember, we saw him in spring training that year.
He looked like a house on fire.
Adrian strikes out in a high fastball, and Walker's got some extra gas tonight. Again, he hits 97 for his third strikeout of the night.
It's been a little bit of a tendency of Adrian so far early in this season to chase the high heater, and it makes me wonder if, you know, sometimes you're getting a little older, you're worried about your back, even though he said he was healthy in his pregame interview with Steve Gelbs, our very own Stevie. Said he's fine and healthy, but he's been chasing that high one.
Now Jose Lobaton. Tomas Nido caught last night. Lobaton 1 for 16.
He's throwing hard. You know, he's not throwing 97 above 95, but it looks a lot harder to me.
Frazier at second with 2 out. The pitcher Matz sitting 8th in the order is on deck. And Lobaton takes inside at 96, a ball and a strike. Walker's last start was against the Reds, whom the Cardinals have obliterated 7-0 against Cincinnati this year. 6-9 against the rest of the league. And he blows one by Lobaton. It's 1-2. Walker allowed to 1 run in 6 2/3 innings in that game. Funny thing is, the Braves have gone into Cincinnati, had lost the first 2 games of that series, and they're losing again tonight. 4-3 in the 7th. Finally, the Reds have found a team they can beat. Molina knocks it down.
Reds are coming to town next homestand, aren't they? Look at Molina here. I mean, it's a broken record. He's just so adept. You don't give the gold away for nothing.
That's the first changeup Walker's thrown, and that's his go-to pitch. Molina didn't win the Gold Glove last year. I think he wants it back. Rightfully his. 2-2. Lobaton loses the bat and strikes out to end the inning. So Michael Walker works around a leadoff hit. He's got 4 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. Mets and Cardinals, no score. home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Nice night in St. Louis. Temperature on the low 60s. Rain has stayed away.
So nice not to be in a sweater and shivering.
I'm wearing a sweater, Keith. Marcell Ozuna bounces one foul.
You're just an old softy.
I am very vulnerable to the cold. I will admit that quite readily.
You would not have hit well in Candlestick.
Marcell Ozuna fared better in warmer climes. Had a career year in Miami last year, really struggling early this season as a Cardinal. And Matz makes him move his feet, 1-1. In fact, Ozuna now 1 for his last 23 after going a frustrating 0 for 5 last night. Spiked the bat on a couple of occasions, so it's like it's getting to him.
Good curveball.
Well, we have seen Ozuna carry a team for weeks at a time. So it's only a matter of time. Those are the numbers he put up last year in Miami.
A big ballpark, had 37 home runs.
There's just 2 this year. Another curve from Matz, and Ozuna held the swing. Yadier Molina waits on deck. Then Paul DeJong for the Cardinals in the second. And Ozuna strikes out on the changeup. Matz has his second strikeout, 1 away.
High change, but he kept it away. No, not that high. Right down the knees. Good pitch. Take a look at his front foot, Ozuna here, and he's open stance on his toes, and he taps, and still on his toes. Whatever it takes.
From one toe to another.
Tiptoe.
Here's Yadier Molina, 1 for 5 last night, and takes a backdoor curveball outside, ball 1. Molina homered against Matz in New York, that opening series of the year. And a 2-0 changeup is in for a strike.
One thing about Steven works fast. He likes to get that ball and throw it. Molina more closed in his stance, almost square to the pitcher, not open at all, not closed. And he gets on his toe, if you notice, folks. He makes a last-minute move to that tiptoe.
Molina questioning Brian Gorman about that last strike call.
Kind of rocking in the box there.
3 changeups in a row from Matz. Brian Gorman, the crew chief, has the plate tonight. Rookie umpire Jansen Visconti has first base. Adrian Johnson and Tripp Gibson rounding out the crew. Two coming. Driven to deep left field. Cespedes back. He has room and makes the catch. Molina hit that ball hard, but it's the second out.
A mistake right here from Matz. Wanted the ball away. Look at the catcher set up away. Comes in. Look at the swing. Down in that wheelhouse. And take a look at the feet. That is not. That wouldn't work with me, but it works with him.
Well, Molina hitting an inside pitch from Steven Matz, and something we've talked about a lot is Paul DeJong steps in. DeJong has 2 home runs against Matz and 3 career at bats, and he takes a strike. I mean, Steven pitches to the inside part of the plate probably more than anybody on this staff.
How many times have I said the pitcher has to learn to pitch inside? Not Steven Matz. Steven Matz needs to learn how to pinpoint the outside corner because he loves to pitch in. You know, every now and again, Carlton always threw that slider, and down and into a right-hand hitter, and then he would throw that fastball knee-high outside corner with 2 strikes and catch him looking. It's a great pitch.
So if you're a hitter and you face Steven Matz a few times, I would think you've got to be looking in, right?
If you're a right-hand hitter, yeah, I would.
I mean,
I think I would look in for 2 strikes.
Curveball foul back 2-2. I mean, Al Leiter pitched in all the time, but he had more movement on his ball.
Well, Al had the cutter that very few people have. He had a razor blade cutter, and he could locate it. That's why he pounded those right-handers in. Tough pitch.
That was a really uncomfortable at bat for a right-hand batter.
That's like Mariano to a left-hander.
And that changeup just outside. 3-2 to DeYoung, who has become at a very early point in his career a serious Met killer. 16 hits against the Mets, 6 of them doubles, 6 of them home runs. 3-2 coming, and it's foul back.
Well, what I'm pleased about with Steven, even though he's had a rocky start here, he hasn't pitched well, is that the fact that he's healthy. This is his 5th start, and we've heard nothing about any tenderness in his elbow, which has always been an issue.
Well, he had the nerve transposition surgery in October, the same one Jacob deGrom had a couple of years ago, and it seems to have worked. Fastball got him looking. DeYoung sitting on something else, and Matz has retired the first 6 with 3 strikeouts. No score after 2. $25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Yoenis Cespedes Garden Gnome courtesy of New Balance. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. And you better get there early, because otherwise Keith will take yours and stick it in his garden. I mean, if one is good, I don't know. You think 2 would be too many?
Let's get a close up. Don't look at that. Coming at you. Look at the sunglasses. Aren't they cool? Yeah. Go.
The Vols will be scampering.
That's right. I'm going to put it right here.
Steven Matz leading off in the 3rd. Steven looking for his first hit of the year. 0 for 5, lifetime 158 hitter, which you never would have figured when you watched his debut. Remember that against the Reds?
Yes.
4 RBIs in his big league debut.
Boy, he made Grandpa proud.
Grandpa Bird was just beside himself. Steven drops down a bunt. It'll trickle foul. Nice idea by Matz, who's got good speed going down the line, but he'll have to come back.
Well, Steven's a good athlete. There's the skipper.
Well, we saw Gesellman run the bases in Atlanta and score the winning run. We know deGrom can run. Matz can run, but Syndergaard still insists that he can run with all those guys. I don't know. I think we need to arrange a race. Matz lines one into center field, and he's got his first hit of the season. So he didn't need to bunt his way on. He smacked one into center field for a leadoff hit.
Bullet.
Todd wants some salt and pepper. I'm not sure he's getting it.
Nice swing here. Nice and level. Belt high. Very well. Nicely done, Steve.
Rosario back in the 9-hole tonight. Goes after a first pitch fastball, 0-1. Ahmed 0 for 3 last night. He's at .238 for the season. He did draw another walk last night. He's now walked more already this year than he did in his rookie stint last year. And he drives this one to right center, cutting across as Fowler to grab it. And Matz back to first.
Ball just kind of hung up there.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Michael Conforto struck out his first time up. Waka faced the Mets on March 31st in the second game of the year. Gave up 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Matched up against Jacob deGrom. And the Mets beat him 6-2 that day. Curveball inside to Conforto, but that really his only bad start against the Mets. As you see his lifetime numbers, 17 games over 500. His best year came in 2015 when he made the All-Star game, went 17-7 that year.
Won 12 last year.
Grounded to the right side. Wong goes to second with it, and DeYoung does not have a relay, so they erase Matz for the second out.
Little trouble in the exchange there, Wong, but got the lead runner. You're not going to be tough to double up Conforto. That ball kind of rolled up his glove there into the heel, but get that lead out.
So that'll get Cespedes at bat with a man on. Cespedes struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. On this road trip, Cespedes is 2 for 19 with 11 strikeouts. But in between, he had a game-winning hit in the 12th inning in Atlanta and the 3-run monstrous home run he hit last night.
Well, every swing he's taking, it is for the downs. He is swinging like a cleanup hitter. I mean, he's still the powerful swing, but of the past. But I think he is really. I mean, he's forgot about the opposite field.
He smashes this one into left field for a base hit. Who needed the opposite field? Conforto pulls it at second, and Cespedes has the Mets' 3rd hit.
When he hits it, he scalds it. Used to call it a scaldy dog.
So Jay Bruce comes to bat with 2 out and 2 on. Jay grounded out to first base his first time on a cutter from Waka. He starts with a curveball for ball 1. I've been stunned so far at Waka not using his changeup. He's 43 pitches deep. What, he's thrown 1 or 2 maybe? It's a pitch he throws 23% of the time for the season.
Less than a handful. Establishing fastball.
And a broken bat liner into right. That's a base hit. Conforto being waved around third. Fowler's throw to the infield. Not in time. All the way to third goes Cespedes. Jay Bruce loses a bat, gains an RBI, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Such a balanced lineup. There's really no room to take a breath here. In this lineup, 1 through 6 right now. And Cespedes on the backside never hesitated going to third. That ball just wanted it inside, bled a little bit out over the plate, just enough for Jay. And look at Cespedes here. It's a soft liner. It's 2 outs. He made his judgment. He didn't need his third base coach.
So Bruce, who drove in the last run last night,
there it is,
has himself a remnant with which to grind the salt and pepper.
I see Ruben Amaro still under the weather.
Yeah, Tom Slater filling in again tonight as a first base coach, with Ruben still feeling ill. Here's Frazier with first and third and 2 out. So the Mets, who were behind most of the night last night, get the first run tonight. There's Tom. Frazier had a base hit to right field his first time up. That's now with 4 hits against Wacha. Takes a changeup for a strike, 1-1.
Let's see if he got jammed here. He's, you know what, those bats, that what's that wood they use now that's so hard as a rock? Yeah, the
maple.
The maple. They don't have the pliability of white ash, and he just hit it on the label.
Well, I mean, we saw, Bryce Harper snap his bat and it went 406 feet. So, I mean, Bruce, made pretty good contact there. Spectrum high-speed pitch for it tonight. We've already seen Wacha hit 97 on a couple of occasions. Matz has topped that at 93. 2-1 to Frazier. And Todd takes the changeup low and in. It's 3-1. Todd has a couple of home runs in his career against Wacha. He's faced Wacha more than any other Met. Of course, they used to square off when Todd played in the NL Central for the Reds. 27 at bats, 8 hits, 2 home runs against this tough right-hander. And it's low ball 4, and that loads him up for Wilmer Flores. So Wacha, who's been walking far more this year than he has in the past, issues his first walk of this game. And he'll get a visit from Mike Maddox, his pitching coach, before he faces Flores.
Well, he started out like a house on fire the first 2 innings. Second time through the order, looks like the Mets got the measure of him.
Well, he had 2 out and a runner at first in this 3rd inning, but then Cespedes with a hard base hit. Bruce, the broken bat single to drive in the run, and now the walk to Frazier. By the way, that's 19 walks now for Frazier, who started the night tied for 3rd in the league in walks. And so Wilmer gets a crack with the bases full. You see what the Cardinals pitching staff has done this year. They've done a pretty nice job, led by Carlos Martinez, whom the Mets will see tomorrow. Mets beat up Martinez pretty good on opening day, but he's been untouchable since. Cespedes at 3rd, Bruce at 2nd, Frazier at 1st with 2 out. Wilmer hit one about 20 feet his first time up, and Wacha threw him out. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Mets have already hit 3 grand slams this year, all against the Nationals. And Wilmer gets jammed and fouls one off. It's 0-2. Steven Matz got this inning started with a base hit. He was erased on a force play, and with 2 outs, Cespedes, Bruce, and Frazier have all reached. And a big batter for Wacha here to try to avoid a big inning. It's ahead on Flores, 0-2. And Wilmer takes it wide, 1-2. I mentioned that Wacha's walks are up. Last year for the season, 3.0 walks per 9. This year, 4.6, and his strikeouts are down. So walks up, strikeouts down. Bad combination, despite the fact that Wacha has 3 wins in his first 4 starts. And Wilmer chops one near the second base bag, and DeYoung steps on second for the force that ends the inning. Mets settle for 1 run in the 3rd and hand Steven Matz a 1-0 lead. His franchise dates back to 1882, 1892 in the National League. I think that's from 1926, that World Championship jersey. Sportsman's Park, which was later rechristened the first Busch Stadium. The All St. Louis World Series in 1944. How seriously do the Cardinals take their history? They employ 4 full-time curators whose only job is to travel the country looking for Cardinals memorabilia that they can put in their museum.
And I bet you they will find a lot of it in the South. Remember, St. Louis was the furthest western city that had baseball team, and also the furthest south. There was no Atlanta, there was no Houston, and no Dallas where the Rangers play. It was just Chicago up north and St. Louis. So St. Louis, when I played, had a whole following in the deep south. Oh, bullet.
Line right behind the bag, which is where Wilmer Flores was playing. Perfectly positioned to retire Jed Jerko for the first down.
Almost took Matz's head off with that bullet.
Talk about perfect defensive positioning.
And of course, St. Louis had the very, very famous radio station with this very strong, if not one of the strongest signals, KMOX, that carried their baseball games. And I remember when I was retired, I was up in Gary in the summer. I was up in Wyoming, and it was at night, and I just happened to turn on. I think it's 1260 or 1290. I forget.
1120.
1120, whatever. And I picked up KMOX. I was just shocked.
I mean, we used to be able to get KMOX at night in New York on occasions, which is amazing considering all the interference.
Oh, of course, the famous Harry Carey. Jack Buck came on and became Harry Carey's sidekick. Harry Carey left, went to the White Sox with Jimmy Pearsall. What a duo that was. And Jack Buck took over for a very long time, my whole career in St. Louis. Jack Buck spoke fluent Spanish. He would make a point, he told me, every spring training and one day he would go up to every player the first day of camp, even the invitees, and introduce himself.
Colton Wong just got a piece of that to stay alive. Oh, Jack was special. He had a great sense of humor. I think he understood his position with the power of KMOX, which could reach, I think, was 39 states.
Yes. And St. Louis
slowly hit past the mound. Flores with a tough play and can't make it. And the Cardinals have their first base runner of the night. An infield hit for Colton Wong on a slow roller.
I just didn't. On the heel. See? And Wong can run.
So it's the only left-handed bat in the lineup who picks up the first hit against Matz. In fact, that's the first hit Stevens given up to a left-hand batter this season. They have been 0 for 7 against him through his first 4 starts. Let's see if Waka's bunting. He's not a very good hitter, but they're going to let him swing at least on the first pitch, and he takes ball 1. Waka's 0 for 9 this year, lifetime 112 hitter. So he's no Adam Wainwright in that respect. Wainwright can hit. Well, one thing that we've always seen here in St. Louis is, especially on the weekends, the number of out-of-state license plates that make their way into this city to come watch the Cardinals play.
Of all the states in the Union, St. Louis is surrounded by the most states. I think there's 8, if I'm correct. And Illinois, they draw from southern Illinois, which the borderline is Peoria in the middle of Illinois, and the Cubs get northern Illinois. But we did the Cardinal caravans, you know, which was in the winter. We'd go before spring training and we get in a bus. We'd go to Kentucky, we would go to Arkansas, we would go to Kansas, we would go to Oklahoma, You know, Iowa's another. It would make a tour around.
In those days, even, you know, there were no Rockies, there were no Diamondbacks, even out into Colorado and New Mexico and Arizona. They're all Cardinal fans.
And
it's the closest team.
Right. They only had the Kansas City Royals.
That wasn't until later. Matz off the mound, and it's wide, and Flores can't come up with it. All the way to third goes Wong as Bruce has to charge it from right field. Well, Wilmer trying to stretch, but he didn't stretch far enough, didn't come off the bag, and so the Cardinals wind up with runners at first and third.
Well, it's going to be an error on the throw here on Steven Matz, and Wilmer trying to hang on the bag, and just inexperience at first base. If you're going to get pulled off that bag, you got to come off the bag. It's a tough choice.
If he'd had a first baseman's mitt, he would have been okay, but he had the second baseman's mitt, and it wasn't long enough.
It's got to be a sacrifice. We got a pinch hitter up for Tommy Pham. I don't know what is wrong with him health-wise. That's Harrison Bader in Pham's spot in the leadoff role.
Well, we had thought that Bader might get a start today rather than maybe Dexter Fowler against the left-hander. Pham flied out deep to right field his first time up, hasn't had a play in the field, so this is a little surprising. Bader appeared as a pinch runner last night, and Matz falls behind him 2-0.
Talked to Rick Hummel about this kid, and Rick Hummel, of course, is the senior Hall of Fame sports writer for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Post-Dispatch, and it is a sacrifice, Gary, and an E1.
And Matz struggling now, falls behind 3-0. So after making the bad throw to first base, Matz digging the hole a little deeper, falling behind Bader. Harrison Bader grew up in Westchester, born in Bronxville, went to Horace Mann before moving down to the University of Florida. Third round pick by the Cardinals, and swinging 3-0, and he fouls it off.
How about that?
That's a little surprising.
Looking at Matheny's reaction down there, he kind of turned his back to the field, and interesting that he would give the youngster a 3-0 hit sign. But Rick Hummel said this kid has played well.
Inside, ball 4, and that'll load the bases for Fowler. So Matz giving up an infield hit, then committing an error. Now walks the pinch hitter Bader to load him up.
See if we can get word on Pham, what's going on with him health-wise to get lifted from this game. He's been red hot.
Yeah, that's the last guy the Cardinals can afford to lose right now.
And in the lineup tonight, the way the Cardinals have not hit well against left-handers, Pham is the one guy that's been killing them.
Would you give it Wonka a sacrifice?
Yes, because he would advance the runner.
Right.
It was a good enough bunt.
Right. So the base is loaded with one out. Fowler grounded out to third his first time up. The infield back at double play depth. And a first pitch curveball misses for ball 1.
When a pitcher's in trouble with the bases loaded, first pitch strike is the most important pitch. Now he's 1-0. He's in a little bit of trouble.
He's given up one hard hit ball in the inning, and that was the out. The line out by Jerko that started the inning. And misses with a fastball, and now it's 2-0. So after the Mets gave Matz the lead with a run in the top of the third initiated by his base hit, now Matz in danger of giving it right back and more. And now 3-0 to Fowler. And Lobaton did well just to keep that from going to the backstop. Check the count. It's 2-1. Good hit. Martinez waiting on deck.
Good pitch to hit. He took 1-0.
And he swings at the changeup, and now it's 2-2. That's a big turn for Matz in this at bat.
1 for 19 against left-handers. Fowler from the right side of the plate.
Wong at third, Walker at second, Bader at first, 1 out. And Fowler drives 1 out to right center field. Cutting in is Bruce. Tagging at third is Wong. Bruce makes the catch. And the throw skips in too late. And the Cardinals tie the game on the sacrifice fly by Dexter Fowler. So Fowler drives in his 10th run of the year, and we're tied at 1. So now another big hitter for Matz to get through with Jose Martinez, whom he struck out looking his first time up. Two on and 2 out. And it runs inside, ball 1. Remember that Pham had missed a couple of games coming into this series with a groin problem, so we don't know if that's what acted up again, and that's why he came out. And again, Matz falls behind 2-0. Ozuna would be next. Mets 1 run, 4 hits. The Cardinals 1 run, 1 hit. He only hit an infield single by Wong that sparked this 3rd inning. And Martinez takes a changeup for a strike, 2-1. Matz is not afraid to throw that changeup on 2-0. He's done it a couple of times now. Martinez pounds one into the ground, 2-2. Jose Martinez, whose dad played in the big leagues. Carlos Martinez had a brief career, no relation to the Cardinal pitcher Carlos Martinez. I think there have been 3 Carlos Martinez's play in the big leagues. 2-2. Smacked the other way, a base hit. Waka will be held at third by Jose Oquendo as Bruce gets it in. So Martinez reloads the bases with an opposite field single. The first outfield hit for the Cardinals tonight.
Well, lucky the pitcher was the lead runner here. High fastball. Boy, he stays level on that pitch up, doesn't he? That's nice hitting right
He's
there.
An impressive hitter, Keith.
So far.
I don't know how this guy spent 12 years in the minor leagues.
Well, Walker's an athlete. He runs well.
Dave Island out to talk to Matz, who was had trouble getting deep into games. He was pulled after 4 innings in his last start against the Nats. Remember, he had a bad first inning, then retired 10 in a row, and then they pinch hit for him. Mets rallied and won that game. Now just trying to survive the 3rd inning with a run in, bases loaded, 2 out, and Marcell Ozuna stepping in. Ozuna struck out his first time up. He is at a very rough go of it, but he's got a chance to do some damage here. First pitch curveball in for a strike. That's 28 pitches deep into this 3rd inning. And Ozuna pounds the curveball into the ground foul, and it's 0-2. Dave Island went to the mound, and Matz promptly started Ozuna with back-to-back curveball.
Ozuna just can't get get going here. Sluggish start.
Batting cleanup every day, has just 11 RBIs through the first month of the season. He gets jammed and fouls one off the right side, and that'll go out of play. Cardinals traded 4 players, including a couple of pretty good prospects, to the Marlins to get Ozuna, figuring he would be the linchpin of their offense for a long time to come. But it has not been a good first month.
And you don't hear any boos here, these Cardinal fans.
I was just about to say, can you imagine if he was doing this in the Bronx?
Exactly.
That's line through the hole, a base hit for Ozuna. Waka is in. Bader right behind him. The throw to the plate hits the runner, bounces away, and the runners advance to second and third. 2 runs come home on the bases loaded single from Marcell Ozuna, and the Cardinals go in front 3-1.
A little bit of a lazy breaking ball here, down and in. Little, maybe a cutter or a slider. Ozuna rips it. They're challenging Cespedes' arm. I've never seen an umpire get hit on a throw that gets by a catcher. Never. How does that happen?
Did it not hit Bader first? Well, I guess it didn't. And now Yadier Molina trying to cash in some more. So it's a single, 2 RBIs for Ozuna. Martinez goes to third, and Ozuna winds up at second on the throw.
So good aggressive base running by the Cardinals here.
So this is a must get out for Matz, now down in the game 3-1. Molina hit the ball hard, lined out to deep left his first time. And Matz misses high.
Now the umpire's behind.
I was right.
Oh, it went right through his legs.
It did hit Bader first.
So forgive me, Mr. Gorman behind the plate. That was kind of an unusual carom.
Molina chases a high fastball, and it's 1-2.
And it is a breaking ball, and it just a lazy breaking ball, easy to track.
Cory Oswalt is up in the Mets bullpen. Called up earlier on this road trip. He's yet to make his major league debut, and he is warming up behind Matz, who's struggling here in the third. Molina gets under one and flies it out to left center. And Conforto comes in under it. That retires the side, but 8 Cardinals come to bat. 3 of them come home after the Matz error. Cardinals lead 3-1. Stadiums. This is now the 3rd one. Cardinals haven't made the postseason the last 2 years, but their fan base is pretty loyal. Red-clad fans and red seats.
Yeah, you go get them.
Sometimes you got to cut off those beer sales early. Cardinals now with a 3-1 lead as we go to the fourth. All 3 runs the Cardinals scored in that third inning unearned as the result of the Matz error. Harrison Bader, who came in to pinch hit for Tommy Pham, stays in the game in center field. Pham, we are told, suffered what they're calling an accidental head laceration. Now, how that happened, we don't know, but so Pham has had to get treatment as the result of something that cut his head. It's not funny, Keith.
Gong.
Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yes.
Adrian Gonzalez leads off the fourth against Michael Wacha and takes the curveball inside. Gonzalez, Lobaton, and Matz due up for the Mets. Cory Oswalt was throwing during that last half inning. He is no longer throwing, which makes you think Matz is going to stay in the bat. Which, you know, it's not a slam dunk considering that he was pulled after 4 innings for a pinch hitter in his last start. Wacha with that good sinker, 1-2. Wacha gave up a run in the third, but dodged what could have been a much more serious problem when he got Flores to hit into a fielder's choice with the bases loaded to end the inning. Well, Matz has had trouble getting deep into games, as we mentioned.
Well, it's a very costly throwing error. 3 unearned runs.
And a changeup by Wacha to strike out Gonzalez.
So there you go, Gary. This may be, he's established his fastball. Now he's going to go use his changeup more often.
Well, because his changeup is so good, he is dominating against left-hand hitters. I mean, not only do they not hit him, but the slugging percentage for lefties against him this year is .244. The slugging percentage. He's given up 1 extra base hit to a left-hand batter all year.
Yep. Lefties hitting .222 against him with no home runs. Righties are hitting .294, but is only 2 home runs he's given up.
And there's that changeup again to get ahead of Lobaton, 0-2. He struck out Lobaton his first time up, so he didn't use it much the first time through the batting order, but changeup becoming more of a factor now for Michael Wacha. Comes up and in with the fastball. Lobaton stops the swing, 1-2. And Lobaton just got a piece of that to keep the at bat alive. Lobaton in his first at bat as a Met hit an opposite field triple. Since then he's gone 0 for 16. He really has changed the dynamic of the lower part of the Mets batting order with 2 catchers now who just can't be counted on for much offense. Lobaton pops this one up into shallow left center, and Bader is coming in. 2 out. Hope was that Kevin Plawecki would only be out 3 to 4 weeks after breaking his hand, but it's been almost 2 weeks now and he hasn't done anything other than trying to strengthen that hand. No baseball activities at all. Here's Matz, so it could be that it winds up being more than 3 to 4 weeks for Kevin.
Well, I would think for a bone to heal, you know, a fracture is going to heal quicker, but still it takes time.
What do you think about Jason Vargas, who, you know, broke his non-pitching hand, and it's basically taken him 6 weeks to get back. He'll make his first start Saturday. Matz flares one to the right side, and there's Wong to pick it off, and that retires the side. 1-2-3 inning for Wacha after getting the lead. 3-1 Cardinals in the fourth.
That's a shot to right field. He put a charge into that one, and that is out of here. You're right. It's gone. Keith Hernandez with his first home run as an Indian.
And only one.
This day in baseball history presented by Empire City Casino. Put it in a time capsule. First and last.
I was so pleased I didn't have to sprint. I was hurting that year. I tore my calf twice, 3 times that year. That was a year after, remember, the Mets let me go. I had the collision against the Dodgers on a double play against Dave Anderson, and I broke my kneecap. That pretty basically finished me. So it was the other calf that I tore. And I kept coming back, and within the first 3 games, I'd tear it again. I did it 3 times, and it was just such a frustrating year, and my career was over, that's all.
You look so spiffy in your Cleveland togs, though.
You think? Where's Wahoo? Oh, there's Chief Wahoo.
I mean, where's that? Toronto, right?
Yes. I don't guess who it was off. Todd Stoudemire.
Is that right?
Yes.
Pulled down a third, past Frazier and down the line, and Paul DeYoung has himself another extra base hit against the Mets. 17 for 47 with 13 extra base hits against the Mets.
Amazing. Just out of the reach of Todd.
Think about that. 47 at bats, 13 extra base hits.
It's pretty good.
That's a rather remarkable pace.
I'd like to see what that slugging percentage is, or the OPS plus, whatever it's called.
It's got to be close to 1,000 slugging percentage. I think it was around 900 coming into the night. Here's Jed Jerko, who lined out his first time up, and he takes a strike from Matz. So after a troubling 3rd inning, the 4th does not begin well for Steven, and the Mets will get some warm-up action going again. Jerko getting the start at 3rd base tonight, with Matt Carpenter getting the night off. Carpenter's been struggling, and Mac Matheny sits him against the lefty. Matz gets ahead of Jerko 0-2. Jerko spent a couple of weeks on the disabled list, just got back a week ago with a hamstring problem. 20 home runs last year in a part-time role with the Cardinals.
That's taking a long time here.
Well, you commented before on how fast he likes to work, but like most pitchers, when bad times strike, they usually slow things down. And that one bounces free, but Lobaton on it quickly enough that DeYoung can't make a break.
I have a feeling that if that was Asdrubal Cabrera out there, he'd have been on 3rd base.
Not everybody does the dirt ball read as well as Asdrubal. I think that's my favorite new term of 2018. The dirt ball read. It came from Mickey Callaway. In the air to left field, Cespedes in. And that retires Jerko, 1 out. DeYoung holds the second, and Colton Wong coming up. Wong got the whole thing started for the Cardinals in the 3rd. He had a slow ground ball to the right side. Flores tried to make a barehand pickup and could not make the connection. Wong picked up an infield hit, and it all kind of spiraled down from there for Matz. And a curveball for a strike to Wong. Tomorrow, a day game. 1:15 Eastern time start, and the opening day starters rematch, Syndergaard and Martinez.
A splendid matchup.
Well, Martinez has been untouchable since the Mets touched him up on opening day. I think he's allowed 1 earned run in his next 4 starts.
He did not have it opening day, that's for sure.
And the Mets seem to rattle him. And they've seemed to rattle him a few times when they've faced Carlos Martinez. Matt's got ahead on Wong 0-2 the last time. He's ahead of him 0-2 again with the pitcher Waka on deck.
shame we don't come back here again this season. Gare?
Grounded to short. Advancing is DeYoung. The throw goes to first. Not in time. Close play, but Wong beats it out for his second infield hit of the night. Rosario and Frazier looking at each other. I think that Frazier wanted Rosario to throw to third. Mickey Callaway puts up the hold sign to see if the Mets want to challenge the play at first.
I thought he beat it. And there's your positioning right there. You can see clearly he's safe. Where Rosario playing way up the middle with these extreme infield positioning and the routine ground ball, and he can't make the play.
Did he have a play at third?
He might have had a play at third, and that's probably what he's angry about.
Here's Waka showing bunt, then showing swing, then showing bunt, and it winds up being ball one. Waka laid down the bunt in the third inning that resulted in Matz's throwing error, and he and Jose Oquendo will have a face-to-face after that apparent indecision on the first pitch. Nice to see Jose Oquendo back on the field this year.
19-year-old Jose Oquendo in 1983. Frank Howard was the manager. Ozzie was probably up too early. Slick fielding shortstop.
He could pick him.
I mean, how do you call up a 19? I know a 19-year-old, but Rusty was 19 when he got called. Right?
Well, then was it Frank who then pinch hit for him in the first inning?
First inning with Rusty, and Jose was in tears. I remember he was crushed.
19 years old. DeYoung at third, Wong at first. Wong is running. Waka gets the bunt down. Safety squeeze. Matz with a flip. Can't be handled by Lobatone. The run scores. And all the way to third goes Wong, and it's 4-1 St. Louis. Well, you had everything working there for the Cardinals. Wong moving towards second. Bunt dropped down by Waka. DeYoung breaking for the plate. Matz did everything he could, but Lobatone couldn't catch it. Otherwise, they might have had him at the plate.
Matz made a very nice play. This ball was not bunted far enough down the line. Shovels it to Lobatone, but I still think that the speedy DeYoung would have gotten in. You can see right there, absolutely would have been safe. But the fact that he did not make the play, the runner advanced to third. The Cardinals really aggressive on the bases here.
So Waka gets an RBI. I would imagine they'll score that a sacrifice and a fielder's choice.
Yes, that's got to be it.
And they're going to charge an error on Lobatone, allowing Wong to go to third.
Okay, I can.
And now Bader is hit by the pitch to load up the bases. So it's all coming apart for Steven Matz.
So it's a safety squeeze here, Gary. Interesting. Usually when it's a safety squeeze, the runner will wait and read where the pitcher is going to throw to first base to come, follow the third baseman in. Interesting. Got away with one.
So the base is loaded for Dexter Fowler, who had the same spot as last time up and delivered a sacrifice fly. This time takes a big swing at a curveball and misses. So the Mets committing their second error in the last 2 innings. And the Cardinals executing well. Waka's gotten down 2 bunts. Both have resulted in sacrifices and errors. Put the ball in play, you never know what might happen.
Strikeouts, you just make a U-turn to the dugout.
So the Cardinals with a chance to break this game open. DeYoung has come in. Wong is at third. Waka at second. Bader at first. And Fowler takes a strike, and it's 1-2. One-two coming. Fowler lays off. 2-2. Well, Ozuna had been struggling. Broke out with the bases loaded hit in the third. Fowler just 1 for 19 as a right-hand batter, hoping for some of the same. Matz just trying to find some outs. Tied him up inside, but it missed, and now it's 3-2 with the bases full. Long with great speed at third. Waka the pitcher at second. Bader, who runs very well at first. 3-2 coming to Fowler, and he fouls back the changeup. That's hanging on by his fingernails in this game. 3-2, and he walked him to force in another run, and it's 5-1 St. Louis, and that's going to be the end of the line for Steven Matz. So another disappointing start for Steven. Two runs home in this fourth inning to make it 5-1, and he'll exit after 88 pitches. And Cory Oswalt will come in to make his major league debut. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon.
Well, he's a big kid here, 6'5", 245 pounds, was 12-5 last year with a sparkling 2.28 earned run average. He was minor league pitcher of the year for the Mets. And he's a starter his whole career, so his first big league appearance is in relief, and one he will never forget.
And he comes in with the bases loaded, 2 runs home in the inning to face Jose Martinez, who had a base hit to right field his last time up. So not an easy lift for Oswalt in his first big league game. And he gets the first pitch in for a strike. Oswalt from San Diego, Eastern League Pitcher of the Year last year. Mets are heading to San Diego, so he'll get to be home. 7th round pick in the 2012 draft out of high school in San Diego.
He's got a split changeup.
There's a curveball in the dirt, and it's 1-1. And as Keith mentioned, he's been a starter his whole career, so this bullpen thing is a little different for him, and he's going to have to figure it out quickly. Martinez fouls back the fastball, and it's 1-2.
Martinez got a big swing. Take a look at Oswalt's motion, very compact, no big leg lift, big stride home. Remember, he's a big kid, 6'5", 245. San Diego, he's going home, Gary.
Wacha at third, Bader at second, Fowler at first with 1 out. Oswalt ahead on Martinez, 1-2. And the curveball knocked down by Lobaton, 2-2.
Hasn't been getting his breaking ball over. He's got nerves.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, of course. It's your maiden voyage.
And you're pitching in relief, which you're not used to doing, and you come in with the bases loaded to face the number 3 hitter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a spot.
Easy stuff. Ozuna on deck. 2-2 coming, and he bounces another curveball. And now it's 3-2.
Kind of aimed that one a little bit. He's got to let one loose here. Got to take his chances with his defense out there. 8 gloves.
Well, Matz ended his tenure with a bases loaded walk. Steven went 3 1/3, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a hit batsman. Already charged with 5 runs, albeit not all earned. And now Oswalt with a 3-2 count to his first big league batter with the bases full. Martinez hits the breaking ball past the mound behind the bag. Wilmer has it, gets the force at second as a run comes in. Wilmer did well running that ball down, and they get the force at second. But Wacha comes home with the 3rd run of the inning, and it's 6-1.
Well, I like the fact that Oswalt shook off Lobaton twice, and he threw the fastball. He said, "I'm not throwing a secondary pitch here and walking in a run." Went after the hitter.
So the 4-6 force for the 2nd out. Give Martinez an RBI. Now Ozuna, who drove home a pair with a bases loaded single in the 3rd. 3 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th for the Cardinals. All the responsibility of Matz. And now Oswalt trying to get the final out of the inning.
He's got one more runner out there. That's his. It's Matz's. That's on 3rd.
And Ozuna pulls one down to 3rd. Frazier can't get the handle. Recovers, fires, not in time, and another run comes in. Off the heel of Todd's glove, and Ozuna able to beat it out, and it's 7-1.
3 very costly errors by the Mets tonight. 2 in this inning. Backhand here, ball hit hard, just not gloved by Frazier, and that costs a run.
They have not yet scored that. They might well call it a hit. We're in St. Louis, Keith.
Gary,
yeah,
I'm going to keep it. Well, I won't keep it an E5 because this is not spring training game.
Yadier Molina takes low and in. That's the changeup, and they did call it an error. So
correctly so.
Good for you, Keith. It should be an error, but you know we've seen it before here.
Certainly.
Sometimes hometown scoring gets the best of them. So 3 errors for the Mets tonight. 2 in this inning. Molina, the 9th man to bat in the inning. And he grounds another one to Frazier. This one he fields cleanly and gets the force to end the inning. But the Cardinals put up the 4th spot in the bottom of the 4th and chase Steven Matz. 7-1 St. Louis after 4. 3,600 hits. He was the icon of this franchise.
Yes, he was.
From Denora, PA. 2 Hall of Famers from that town, Denora, PA. Stan Musial and Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
There's
you know,
the
Stan
statue
never
outside.
liked it. He never liked that statue. When that was unveiled upon his retirement, it really doesn't do well. It doesn't do justice to his extraordinarily peculiar stance. And I could tell you from my experience here, he was always very unhappy with that statue. But he was such a gentleman. He never mentioned it. I've heard it from Jack Buck.
Ahmed Rosario leading off the 5th inning for New York. Mets in a 6-run hole. Rosario flied out his first time up against Waka, who survived a rough 3rd inning and now has himself a big lead. And he's been part of creating the lead. There's Stan Musial.
3-time MVP. My goodness. 24 All-Star games. That's just amazing.
Waka strikes out Rosario for the first out. And 6 strikeouts now for Waka.
My dad always said that Stan was like a rattlesnake coiled, ready to strike. Look at that. I mean, that was an inside pitch. He had to turn quick on that one. And you talked to him about hitting, and it was very simplified for him. He just said, I just saw the ball and hit it. Well, it's easy for those great ones. Played in Old Sportsman's Park, had a short right field porch with a big high screen. And Stan, when he came up, was extremely fast. He always had a lot of triples in his career every season. Joe Garagiola, the late Joe Garagiola, a teammate of Stan's, and said that in typical Joe humor, Stan Musial could have hit 300 with a fountain pen.
Wouldn't that be defacing the ball? Conforto lines one the other way, and he's got a base hit. So Michael, who's been getting on base via the walk but hasn't had many hits on this road trip, has himself a 1-out single.
A little more leveled off on that swing there. I like that. Got beat a little bit, but he stayed level, was able to hit a line drive to left field.
The Mets' 5th hit. The hits are all even in this game, but the Mets have made 3 errors, leading to 4 unearned runs that have really put themselves in a hole tonight. Now Cespedes, who's 1 for 2, he struck out and singled to left. It was in the 5th inning last night that the Cardinals starter Luke Weaver, who had been sailing along, all of a sudden hit a wall with a 4-1 lead and walked a couple. Cespedes took him deep, and Weaver's night shortly thereafter came to an end. Mets have been doing an amazing job of fighting back in games, but this is a larger hole to have to deal with. And Cespedes takes a strike, 1-1. Last night the Mets were behind after 7 innings and 1. They've already done that 4 times this year. Been down after 7 and 1. They only did it 4 times all of last year. In fact, listen to it this way. The Mets, when they trail after 7 innings this year, are 4-4. The rest of the major leagues, when they trail after 7, the other 29 teams, are 20 and 255.
Wow.
So their comeback ability has been startling.
It's a resilient bunch.
Oh. And Waka strikes out Cespedes for the 2nd time tonight. That's 7 for Wacha, a season high.
High fastball, plenty of plate. He's got that big uppercut power stroke. That is 41 strikeouts for Cespedes on the year.
In 90 at bats. That's an incredibly high strikeout rate. I mean, it's a record-setting pace that he's on. Here's Jay Bruce, who drove in the first run of this game with a broken bat single in the third. Cardinals have since run off 7 unanswered runs. And Jay takes the curveball down the left side, slicing toward the foul line and out of play. 0-1.
This game got out of hand quick, but there's a lot of game left.
Well, it's one of the few games this year where the Mets have played ugly defense.
Yes. 3 errors in tonight's game. Resulting in 4 unearned runs.
There's the changeup from Wacha, and it's 0-2. And not just the errors, but, you know, plays not made. Right? Flores playing second base for the first time this year, unable to handle a slow roller, didn't come off the bag on Matz's wide throw. It's the little things. But the Cardinals have also executed, got down the squeeze bunt with Wacha. Molina blocks that changeup, and it's 1-2. About you, but it looks like Molina's rejuvenated this year.
It does. We're in April, and it's been a cold April, and he plays every day too. I mean, I don't know how he does it at this stage of his career.
35 years old now. Blocks another one. It's 2-2.
Nothing gets by him.
I mean, but if you remember last year when we saw him, he wasn't moving nearly as well behind the plate.
I think we got a little bit of rain, a little bit of drizzle.
It's not an official game yet. They need one more out. Stall. 2-2 to Bruce, and he struck him out, and now we have an official game. 8 strikeouts for Wacha through 5. 7-1 St. Louis halfway through. We go to the bottom of the 5th in St. Louis. Cardinals with a 7-1 lead. Cory Oswalt, who came in to get the last 2 outs in the 4th, stays in for the 5th to face Paul DeYoung, who got that 4th inning started with a ringing double down the left field line. And Oswalt misses inside for ball 1. DeYoung 1 for 2 tonight. Now has 13 extra base hits and 47 career at bats against the Mets. 6 home runs and 7 doubles. And Oswalt runs 1 inside. It's 2-0. Jed Jerko on deck, and then Colton Wong for the Cardinals in the 5th. St. Louis started last night with the lead in the National League Central, but they lost, and the Brewers won their 7th in a row last night. And Milwaukee went in front. That's drilled into left field, and DeYoung's got another hit, albeit this one a single. So he just keeps on raking against Mets pitching.
Well, got a 2-0 fastball. Hitters count. Lobaton set up outside. That ball bled out over the inner half. Good swing on it by DeYoung. Very short swing. Little leg kick.
So a leadoff base runner. Now Jerko is 0 for 2. And he pounds 1 foul. Anyway, Milwaukee won their 7th in a row and took over first place. However, they found out today that Eric Thames has a torn ligament in his thumb.
Oh, I didn't.
He's going to be out for
He'll be out for a while.
A long time. Yep. And obviously that's a big bat to take out of the Milwaukee lineup.
Big left-handed bat. Power guy. All or nothing hitter.
Nice curve. It's going to be an interesting year in the Central because, you know, the Cubs have obviously underperformed what their expectations were. Pirates got off to a great start. Now they've faded a little bit. Lost their 5th in a row this afternoon.
Water seeks its own level.
But you've got 4 teams in that division who think they can compete. That's everybody except the Cincinnati Reds. Have been the Cardinals whipping boy. Braves finally beat the Reds today after they had lost the first 2 of that series.
The Reds have a worse record than the Marlins.
Jerko held the swing, and it's 2-2. Colton Wong waiting on deck. Oswalt and Lobaton taking a long time trying to get together on a sign. And the curveball off the plate. He hasn't thrown that pitch for a strike yet, has he?
Once. This batter right here, first strike, you let him off. Our second pitch was a curve for a strike.
DeYoung at first and nobody out. And Jerko hits one deep to left field. Cespedes back onto the track at the wall. It's out of here. Jed Jerko with his first home run of the year, a 2-run shot. And the Cardinals keep adding on. It's now 9-1 St. Louis.
The train they do there in that dugout. Only 375 out there. That ball was stroked nicely. Fastball down the pipe.
Jerko hit 20 last year. That's his first this season.
I believe we were talking about Musial and his triples, Gare, and Musial wound up with 177 career triples.
That's a lot of triples. You know how many triples the Cardinals have so far this year? None. None. Their 23rd game. Wong is 2 for 2 tonight without the ball leaving the infield. A slow roller to the right side for an infield hit in the third. And then a ground ball to the left side that he beat out for an infield hit in the fourth. Cardinals with 3 in the third, 4 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. And Wong pops one up. Flores retreating. Conforto calls him off. And Michael puts it away for the first out of the inning. Doug Williams and SNY MLB insider Andy Martino discuss Matt Harvey's new life as a reliever. Is it the career-defining change he needs? Plus, they'll take their weekly dip into Keith's Twitter account. On the latest Say Anything podcast, search SNY Mets and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. So your Twitter account has become a fodder for discussion on somebody else's podcasts?
I guess.
You're bad. You're nationwide.
You're right. I'm bad. I'm bad. We bad.
And you are definitely nationwide. Walker with a pair of sacrifices. First one advanced a runner, and then he reached on an error. Second one was a squeeze that got a run in and resulted in another error. So he's had himself a productive night at the plate. He's also scored 2 runs, driven in a run. I just want to know if you can keep up the pace.
Well,
because not only have you become a Twitter star, but you are so prolific. I mean, every day with these multiple lengthy, involved tweets. They look like they require a lot of thought and work.
Well, not really. I observe the game, and I wait in the morning. I have my coffee and my room service breakfast, Gare, and I just get it done. You know, it just flows off my fingertips.
Walker strikes out. First big league strikeout for Cory Oswalt. There are 2 out. And then you throw in the odd cat video, and you're a star.
Everybody wants the cat video.
Everybody loves the cat
They're
video.
clamoring for the Haji, but you know I'm on the road, so I called my buddy who stays in my house when I'm gone and takes care of Haji to send me a video, because just to keep everybody happy.
I loved, and I think I've seen all of them, but I loved when you took Haji out to the mailbox.
Yes.
I guess to check for the newspaper, and you had Haji on your shoulder with one hand and holding the phone in the other hand, and he didn't have a hand left for the newspaper.
Exactly. I had to cut it short.
It was poor planning. Live and learn.
But I figured it out.
Yes, you did.
Haji loves to go out for a walk in the morning and look around.
Well, then how come you don't let him walk?
Because he's an indoor cat. When he was a kitten, I was in Manhattan, and I live off of a pretty busy road, and I'm just afraid he's going to jump over the fence and get squashed.
Back to Oswalt, and after giving up the home run, Oswalt retires the next 3 after 5, 9-1 St. Louis.
Gary, well, we noticed yesterday that when there's a runner at first base, Yadier Molina consistently checks in at first until the last possible second when the pitch is being thrown. Now, we assumed that he was checking on first base to worry about the runner, see what that runner is doing. And while that's part of it, what I learned today is that he's also checking in on his first baseman, Jose Martinez. Martinez is relatively new to the first base position, and so Molina is constantly checking to make sure he's positioned the correct way and he's in ready position. That's something that Martinez says Molina likes to get on him about. And then after the half inning is over, the two sometimes will get into the dugout and Molina will go through where he wanted him positioned and how he wants him to continue to grow over there at first base.
There's your field general right there, Gare.
Seems like a lot of responsibility for the catcher.
Yes.
He's already got to worry about the pitcher and the running game and all that.
I think he loves it. I think he thrives.
Down the right field side off Frazier's bat, and that'll go out of play. Do you think that in some ways Molina embodies the role that you did when you kind of had charge of the Mets infield?
I think so, but he doesn't have to. He's the catcher. He's calling. There's a big difference. He's calling the pitches, but certainly he's the field general. But I would.
Frazier flies this one out to right, and Fowler's there, one out.
Where he's more involved in balls and strikes, I was more involved in what's going on in the infield.
And Keith, that's really the key too, because one thing Martinez was saying is that Molina wants him to really learn how to watch how the game's being called, where Molina is positioning himself, and where then in turn he should position himself on the infield. So that's one thing that Molina wants to have a constant conversation with Martinez about when they get into the dugout after those half innings.
Well, certainly. One thing, the corner infielders cannot see the call the pitches because the catcher obviously doesn't want the third base coach to steal signs. The middle infielders can see what the pitch is called and the location. The corner infield positions are more reactive. But when the left-hand hitter was up, remember, I've said this a million times, Tough, Timmy and Wally always said something very late when the ball just got out of the pitcher's hand. They said, Keith, on an off-speed pitch to a left-hand hitter or a curveball, breaking ball, a ball more inclined to be pulled, and I would shift a little bit towards the line, and I would be more prepared because that was a ball you probably would, a left-hand hitter would pull more.
That's more of a grad level course that Martinez probably isn't ready for.
Oh, that's, postgraduate at Harvard.
You were under-degreed. Wilmer lines one toward the middle. Beautiful short hop pickup by Wong, and he throws him out. And Colton Wong, his second marvelous play of this series.
It's kind of shaping up. Here we are in the 6th inning, one of those one-sided games where the other one side is just flesh and leather. It's taking all the extra bases, kind of knocked the Mets back on their heels in this game, and the Mets have made 3 errors and have not helped their cause.
So 2 out and nobody on for Adrian Gonzalez, who's been up twice and struck out both times. I mean, you haven't been awarded any honorary degrees, have you?
No, I wouldn't.
You really should.
Why?
Well, first of all, I think you look great in a cap and gown. Second of all, for a guy who didn't go to college, you have such an amassed array of knowledge.
You think so?
It should be acknowledged in some way. I think it's something that, some of our esteemed institutions of higher learning should be thinking about when they get toward graduation.
But then I'd have to make some kind of speech.
Well,
and,
just articulate what you would have written on Twitter that day. Chop toward third, and in comes Jerka to play it, and Walker in cruise control has himself a 1-2-3 inning. 9-1 St. Louis. Another big hit for Johan Camargo was part of that winning rally against the Mets the other night. So the Braves finally get themselves a win over the Reds. Dexter Fowler's driven in 2 runs tonight with a sac fly and a bases loaded walk. It was that walk that knocked out Steven Matz in the 4th inning and led to Cory Oswalt's big league debut. Oswalt's pitch is grounded to the right side. Gonzalez hits Oswalt perfectly for the first out. Michael Wacha, 6 innings, 98 pitches, most pitches he's thrown at the start this year, and so he's coming out. And the Cardinals get John Brevia up in the bullpen. Cardinals with 3 straight crooked numbers, 3 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th to break this game open. Jose Martinez had an RBI and a bases loaded fielder's choice in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Oswalt's now worked 2 innings in relief of Matz. Matz went 3 1/3 through 88 pitches, 5 hits, 7 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a hit batsman. And really it's 5 starts deep now for Matz, and you can say arguably he's had 1 pretty good start, and the other 4 have not been good at all.
Not good at all. Giving up a lot of runs. It's going to skyrocket his ERA. I think today it might jump over to up above 5, close to it.
And what Mickey Callaway said the other day in the wake of Harvey getting sent to the bullpen and Vargas coming back into the rotation and talking about all the other guys who are filling out this rotation right now, probably you put Syndergaard and DeGrom aside. Everybody else, this is a constant competition. There's Jason Vargas, who just joined the team today. He'll make his first start Saturday against the Padres.
Well, there's a reason why the bullpen has been used a lot, and it's that the back 3 of this rotation has not gone deep. Wheeler has not gone deep. Matz has not gone deep. Harvey certainly hasn't gone deep.
Even Syndergaard really hasn't gone very deep. The only guy who has is DeGrom. Syndergaard pitches tomorrow, and I'd love to see him go 7 innings. He hasn't done that yet. Martinez hits one past the mound. Rosario's there to field it. 2 out. So this is what we had in mind, Keith. There you go. Wouldn't that look good?
17 on it? I'm going to put maybe the C for captain.
I noticed there's no gray in your mustache there.
Well, that's because I'm in college age there.
No. We're talking about now. We're talking about that professorial look that you would adopt as an honorary degree holder.
Oh, these 9-1 games.
You noticed that. Marcelo Zuna had a big hit for the Cardinals in the 3rd, a 2-run single that put them in front. He's 1 for 3 on the night.
I did go in audit classes at Columbia after I retired
Did you really?
in the 90s. Yes.
What did you take?
I took a wonderful Greek history class, which the professor was spectacular, and loved it. And then the next semester I took Roman history, and I wasn't so thrilled.
You didn't take Professor Shenton's Civil War course?
I did not.
Oh, that would have been perfect for you. He was great.
But I wanted to learn about ancient. I wanted to go ancient, and I did.
You're constantly expanding your horizons. There he is, cap and gown. I think it's going to happen more than once. It's the dancing honorary degree holder.
What am I? It's like, give me a gun, and maybe it's like one of those carnivals.
The Cardinals, Francisco Pena comes in to catch. Yadier Molina moves from catcher to first base. They just can't get him off the field.
How about that?
And Tyler O'Neill in to play right field. And right-hander John Brebbia will do the pitching. Brebbia making just his 3rd appearance of the year. He was in 50 games for the Cardinals as a rookie last year. Jose Lobaton leads off for New York in the 7th. Lobaton 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for his last 17.
So he just about emptied his bench. Mike Matheny, only Greg Garcia left on the bench for the hard cards.
Remember, he lost Tommy Pham early in this game to what they called an accidental head laceration, and Lobaton breaks that over with an opposite field hit. Cut off by Ozuna, and Lobaton has a leadoff single against Brebbia.
Nice hitting right there. Ball up and away, went right with it and smoked it.
So now Cory Oswalt will bat for himself, and as we suspected, Oswalt, who's a starting pitcher by trade, will probably be asked to finish this game and save the rest of the bullpen. So it's his first big league plate appearance. Day game tomorrow to close out this series. We'll join you at 12:30 with our coverage. The opening day starters go head to head, Syndergaard and Carlos Martinez, in the final game of this series before the Mets head to San Diego. And Brebbia gets the breaking ball in for a strike.
So Mr. Oswalt is going to carry the load through.
Makes sense.
And save the bullpen.
2 for 14 in his minor league career, and he strikes out on 3 pitches in his first big league at bat. And that's the first out of the inning. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Spectrum. Hey, Mets fans looking for a game changer? Get Spectrum Internet with starting speeds up to 200 megabits per second. It's the fastest starting speed for the price. Visit Spectrum.com today. Buy cash for life with the New York Lottery. You could win $1,000 a day for life. And by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of MLB. Visit ODFL.com for more information. Rosario leases one into left field, and that's a base hit. So Ahmed Rosario with his first hit of the night, and the Mets have 2 men on in the 7th. That'll get Michael Conforto to the plate with 2 on. Michael had a base hit to left field his last time up.
These are the at bats that you're down 9-1, Gare, in the 7th inning. You got to grind it here. Can't give these at bats away. These are the kind of at bats as the season progresses that you just might have a mental, just go up there and go shoot. Can't do it. Pete Rose taught me that lesson a long time ago.
Well, you would think, especially if you're not filling the box score with base hits recently, and that's certainly been the case with Conforto, that you would be
he's looking
locked into these spots.
Michael's swinging fine. He's just getting pitches to hit and fouling them back, or hitting him in the air. It's just a matter of time. He's got a good eye at the plate.
Backdoor breaking ball misses from Brebbia. Another way, if you are scoring at home with us, the catcher Pena hits in the 2 spot in the order. The pitcher Brebbia bats 3rd, and the right fielder O'Neill hits 9th. Now you're up to date. Conforto takes a borderline strike. 2-1. Slider drops in for a strike. 2-2. See the rain falling lightly.
It's been doing that most of the night.
Two from Brebbia to Conforto. And Michael pulls one on the ground. Wong's got it. Out at second. DeYoung to first for the double play. Side retired. 4-6-3. The Cardinals turn it over to get Brebbia through the seventh. Stretch time. It's 9-1.
Joining us on Geico Sports Night to talk draft.
Oh, yeah.
So show me how you got to Brady.
Well, once they decided to block all of
Wow, some good insight there.
Is that from downtown at the studios?
Yes.
That looks like fun.
Live and in color. Yadier Molina leads off at the bottom of the seventh, drills one down the line that goes foul. New outfield alignment for the Mets. Michael Conforto moves to left field. Juan Lagares comes in to play center field. And Brandon Nimmo in to play right. So Cespedes and Bruce come out of this lopsided game. Molina's 0 for 3 tonight. Cory Oswalt with 2 2/3 innings under his belt. Guy who's been starting his whole career, made 2 starts for Vegas before his call up, well rested, fully prepared to take on the rest of this game, whatever might befall him. Had a 1-2-3 inning in the 6th. That's drilled out to left field. Back goes Conforto onto the track to reel it in. Another hard hit ball by Molina. Second time he's lined out to the warning track and left. On the road in St. Louis, presented by Old Dominion. The Arch at night with the stadium in the background. 1904 World's Fair. Meet me in St. Louis. Meet me at the fair. That fair.
First bridge to go across the Mississippi.
Is that true?
I believe it was. It was constructed by who's the guy that did the Brooklyn Bridge?
Oh,
Roebling, I think.
Roebling.
I think the same guy did it here.
Cincinnati also.
Uh-oh. Chocolate in your pillows.
Started by Cary Grant at the Roberts Mayfair Hotel.
Yes.
So all those extra calories we can blame on Archie.
Archie Leach.
Archibald Leach.
And that's a story for the gossip columns. We won't get into it.
Jed Jerko takes the curveball up the plate. Jerko hit a 2-run homer off Oswalt in the 5th inning for the 8th and 9th St. Louis runs. But since that home run, Oswalt has steadied nicely and retired 8 in a row. And he gets that curveball in for a strike, and it's 1-1. 24-year-old Cory Oswalt in his big league debut, pitching in the rain He was called upon to do some heavy lifting when he came onto the 4th inning with the bases loaded. Got out of that with minimal damage. Foul back this way. Keith almost needed his first baseman's mitt.
No.
1-2.
I wasn't looking.
Good thing that didn't get in the booth.
I was focused on the Howie over here. Howie got up and wanted to get it. He's right to my right, Howie, by the way.
You know, you can always tell the difference between the former players and the career broadcasters in the booth, because the ball players know well enough to get out of the way, and it's always the broadcasters who want to try and catch the ball, foolish though they might be. 9 in a row set down by Oswalt after 7. 9-1 St. Louis.
Well, the critical eye here. Now watch it on your top right of your screen. Yadier at first base. Look how he arcs around the bag in foul territory. All you kids at home, don't do that. Go directly to the bag. Stay in fair territory.
Now, why do you suppose he did that?
I have no idea. It's not his position.
I'm thinking it's Juan Lagares bats for the first time against John Brebbia. Nimmo and Frazier to follow. I'm thinking maybe he's just trying to keep the field in front of him the same way he does as a catcher, right?
Yeah, it's like, he's technically, by the rule book, folks, the only position player allowed to be in foul territory is the catcher. You might have a point here.
You learned that the hard way, didn't you?
Yes, I did, from Whitey.
Because you like to set up in foul territory
with the back, with my left foot.
And why did you want to do that?
Because my was taught by my father. My right foot was on the bag, inside the home plate side of the bag. So, and I was always standing parallel to the baseline to second base.
That's when you're holding a runner.
Holding a runner on. I was able to push off and cover ground.
To the right side. Molina with a nice backhand play, but the throw is not even close. Well, that's a play you can't practice as a catcher. They tagged Lagares, but he did not make the turn, and he is safe at first base.
Well, we'll see how they rule this. It's not easy.
It's got to be a hit.
I mean, this is a quarterback. I always felt like I was a quarterback throwing a slant in over the middle and had to thread it between the linebackers.
How would you score that?
An error.
Well, that's what they scored it. It's an error. That's 2 for 2 tonight.
Because the runner would have been out with a good throw, Garrett.
Yeah, but it wasn't an easy throw.
I don't care.
Okay. So Molina gets charged with the error, and now Brandon Nimmo bats for the first time. Takes a slider for a strike. Playing time's been tough to come by for Brandon, but he has held up well. Look at that on base percentage, .516. That'll play.
Oh, nice cut, Brandon.
I mean, every time he comes up as a pinch hitter, he may not be successful, but he gives you a quality at bat every time.
He stays sharp. And he's a young guy, not a lot of major league experience. It's a tough role that he has with his ball club.
Well, he knew enough to ask people who had experience in this role about how they stayed prepared, and said Kelly Johnson gave him some pointers that certainly helped. Kelly certainly over the last 4 or 5 years of his career was terrific at coming off the bench and playing occasionally.
Yep.
John Brebbia working his second inning in relief. Brebbia out of Elon University. They're now the Phoenix. Used to be the Fighting Christians.
Is that North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Nimmo fouls away the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Crowd is thinned out with this light rain falling.
Oh, it's thinned out last night too.
Too high, and Nimmo works it to 2-2.
Its kids are still in school. It's a work day tomorrow. A little cool weather. I guarantee you they won't be leaving as the season progresses.
It's a work day tomorrow with a noontime start on a Thursday, and I bet you we have a big crowd. They love their business persons special
yes.
here.
I'm glad you said that. It's interesting because when I was playing, it was called the Businessman's Special, and they like to have them in April. We loved it because it was cold at night.
Well, look at what's happened here. Brandon Nimmo, first at bat of the night, and he's worked a 3-2 count every time. And Brandon strikes out for the first out of the inning. Second strikeout for Brebbia. Drive around the majors presented by Cadillac. Matt Adams, 6 RBIs. The Nats finally win a game. They'd lost 4 in a row as they demolished San Francisco behind Max Scherzer. Jake Arrieta only struck out 2 in 7 innings, but he goes 7 and leads the Phillies to a 5-3 win. And John Gray finally pitched a good game. He had really been struggling. 6 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts, and the Rockies win over the Padres. Todd Frazier takes a slider for a strike. Frazier has singled, walked, and flied out, 1 for 2 tonight. Before Arrieta beat the Diamondbacks today, Arizona had won 8 straight games in Philadelphia. Arizona sitting atop the National League West fairly comfortably.
They're playing great.
Still haven't gotten one of their big guns, Jake Lamb, but they've been winning almost every day, but not today.
Colorado's playing well. They're right there with them. That was a team I was kind of curious to see how they were going to do this year, Gary, because all the young starting pitching, and they went into the playoffs.
And they invested a lot in their bullpen.
Yes.
In the offseason, picking up Wade Davis and others.
And they got the best third baseman in the game.
That's true.
And a pretty good center fielder too.
Charlie Blackmon, who got a big contract recently. Trevor Story just did a grand slam yesterday. It's a fun team to watch. 2-2 coming, and Frazier takes strike 3 call. Back-to-back strikeouts for Brebbia, and they're at 2 out.
And the Rockies are coming to town next homestand.
Thursday, kick off the draft with reactions from Ray Lucas and Willie Colon, plus live reports straight from Dallas in the War Room in Florham Park on Jets Nation. Draft Day special presented by Redbox On Demand. Pre-draft coverage begins Thursday, and that's tomorrow at 7, only on SNY. It's already the NFL draft.
Of course.
The most overhyped non-event in all of sports.
You think? I never pay attention.
Well, that's the point. I mean, come on.
Well, they do it in baseball when they have the draft. I don't pay attention.
But they don't spend a month prepping you for the draft in baseball, do they?
I wouldn't know because I really don't pay attention. I'm not glued to ESPN. Or SNY for that matter. On those issues.
Other times.
Yes.
Like Elmer's. Wilmer's 0 for 3 tonight. Hit a ball hard as last time up. Colton Wong made a nice backhand stop to throw him out. What's a little rain between friends? And Wilmer flies one out to center. Bader has it lined up. And that retires the side. The old courthouse in downtown St. Louis. Cardinals cruising. Home 8th inning. Colton Wong leads off against Cory Oswalt and takes outside ball 1. Quite a job by Oswalt, soaking up 3 2/3 innings so far in long relief, and looking to finish off this game for the Mets and save the rest of the bullpen after Steven Matz got knocked out in the 4th. Wong shoots one out to left. Conforto back toward the corner, jumping to make the catch. Whoa. It stuck. He wasn't sure, but a nice play by Conforto for the first out.
Showing a lot of athleticism here. Conforto ranging. Playing a shallow left field. He ran back to the track for that ball.
Remember when they said he couldn't play the outfield?
That's why I brought that up here.
He is a terrific outfielder, and he's shown that from the day he came up, much to the consternation, I guess, of the scouts who said he couldn't. Tyler O'Neill up for the first time, and he gets hit on the wrist by a pitch. And he'll go to first base after Oswalt had retired 10 in a row.
Well, when you got limited playing time, you sure don't want to get hit by a pitch. You want to swing the bat. Ouch. That's the ulna, folks. It hurts.
He's Canadian. Will shake it off.
A little of bat's blue.
You know how it works with hockey players. They go back for repairs and they come out the next period. Here's Harrison Bader, and he fouls one back. Bader came in the third inning when Tommy Pham left the game with what they called an accidental head laceration. Isn't every injury accidental?
It seems that way.
I mean, you would hate to think it's ever on purpose. Fredberg getting some face time. Fredberg is, you know, it's not exactly in the upper echelon of mascots.
I was here when he was in his inaugural season.
Really?
Yes,
you ushered Fredberg out of his egg.
We were a little amazed, but the kids love Fredberg.
By contrast, there's the Philadelphia Fanatic, who made his debut, by the way, 40 years ago today.
Well, it all started with the chicken in San Diego, who was just spectacular.
Luke down the left side. Rosario onto the outfield grass to grab it. And Bader retired, 2 out. And of course, then there's Mr. Met, who had one incarnation in the 60s and then was reincarnated into his current form, entertaining the masses.
And brought his lovely wife.
Watch SNY Mets games on the go on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. You know, the Mets had other mascots along the way. They had Homer the dog.
Right.
Dog they tried to teach to run the bases. That didn't work out so well. They had Metal the mule, who lived beyond the outfield fence at Shea.
I don't remember the mule.
That was before you got there in the late 70s. Metal the mule. M-E-T-T-L-E.
I do remember the dog for some vague reason. I don't know why.
But then Mr. Met came back in full flourish. And, well, the rest is history. Francisco Pena up for the first time. And he yanks one foul. And Jose Oquendo doing his best to try and get out of the way. Not necessarily successful.
Oh. And he's got the bad knees.
Testing out the new knee, yeah. It's not quite Tommy Lasorda getting knocked over in the All-Star game. Now the pitcher spot is due up next, and John Brebbia is out on deck. So just as Oswalt's trying to finish off this game for the Mets, looks like Brebbia is going to do the same for the Cardinals, which means he has a chance for the rare 3-inning save. 1-2. Pena gets tied up, and it's inside. And this is quite an effort by Oswalt. You know, he came in to an unfamiliar situation in the fourth, came in with the bases loaded. The guy who's been starting his whole life, got out of that with minimal damage. He did give up the 2-run homer to Jerko in the fifth, but he hasn't given up a hit since. So it's been all in all a very nice debut for Oswalt. As Pena drills that one foul into the seats. Four-year-old Cory Oswalt making his debut tonight, and certainly he's made an impression. Two to Pena, and he fouls another one back. Well, there's no more lonely job in baseball than being the backup to Yadier Molina. Francisco Pena, second-generation big league catcher. His dad Tony, such a terrific catcher back in his day.
And played here in St. Louis.
Seventh pitch of the at bat, and it's up and in, full count. O'Neill at first at 2 out. He'll be running. 3-2 to Pena. And he struck him out with a high fastball. So Cory Oswalt finishes off 4 2/3 innings of long relief. He certainly acquitted himself very nicely. To the ninth, 9-1. But the bright spot, the debut of Cory Oswalt, picking up for Steven Matz, who had another rough night. Starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Michael Wacha settled in after he got the lead, and he was terrific for 6 innings, struck out 8. Matz another abbreviated start. In his first 5 starts of the season, Steven has only thrown 21 2/3 innings. Clearly that's not sufficient. Adrian Gonzalez will lead off the 9th inning against John Brebbia, who has a chance for his first major league save. According to the rule book, if you go 3 innings with the lead, no matter what the score, you are eligible for a save. Gonzalez 0 for 3 tonight, and he gets one in the air to center field. Harrison Bader over toward right center. 1 pitch, 1 out. Now Jose Lobaton, who snapped an 0 for 17 stretch with a base hit to left his last time up. Tomas Nido is out on deck to bat for the pitcher. And Lobaton takes a strike. Day game tomorrow with Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard has been uncanny in his ability to win games after Met losses, and he'll get another crack at it tomorrow. 0-2 to Lobaton. He'll be opposed by fellow opening day starter Carlos Martinez. They hooked up March 29th at Citi Field, and Syndergaard got the best of it.
Well, Martinez's worst start of the year. He's been lights out ever since. Should be a wonderful matchup. 12:30 tomorrow. 1:30 Eastern.
Actually, if you get here at 1:30 Eastern, you'll be late, since the game starts at 1:15.
It's not 12:30 start?
12:15.
Oh.
We'll be on the air at 1 o'clock from here.
I would have been
pre-game is 12:30 Eastern, which is 11:30 Central.
I'm glad you told me. I'd have been 15 minutes late.
You know how all over you we would have been if you'd showed up late? It would be the topic of conversation for 9 innings, and we can't be having that. Be like talking about Francesa's return. 1-2. Fouled away. Wall to wall.
Oh, good. We get in at a decent hour in San Diego because of the day game. Getting at 7. Dinner hour.
You do remember we play long games here sometimes.
7 o'clock. Dinner hour. Nice. Check in.
1-2. Lobaton drills one down the line, but foul.
There's a Nobu near the hotel, I heard. I've been to San Diego in a couple of years.
They're letting you back in now?
Yeah, I think.
The dust is cleared?
I was on bended knee.
Breaking ball just missed to the Lobaton. Diehards waiting out the rain. And now a full count to Lobaton.
Oh, that's the old 76 hat. 1976, the bicentennial. Yes, with we called them the painter hats. I wore those hats. I got a lot of photos of me with that hat on.
All the teams wore them, and then the Pirates kept them. Yeah.
And the Pirates looked the worst in them.
Well, Kent Colby especially.
Well, I mean, just the bubblegum uniform they had, right? The bumblebee. I mean, the yellow and the black.
They wore those again the other day.
Hideous.
I thought they looked kind of spiffy.
Look good on Stargell.
Slap to the left side. Circling it is DeYoung. And he throws out Lobaton. And thus the Mets are down to their final out of the night. And Tomas Nido will be the pinch hitter. Nido started last night behind the plate, went 0 for 4. And likely will catch Syndergaard tomorrow. Two out and nobody on. And Nido goes after the slider, 0-1. Another, and now it's 0-2. Yes, you're on TV. Here's the 0-2, and Nido lays off that slider. If Nido can keep it going, Ahmed Rosario would be next. Brebbia, just his third big league outing of the year, and trying to pick up his first major league save. Nido cracks one down the right field line, and that sells foul. Get hurt. Slippery over there. All friends in the end. And Nido strikes out, and that'll do it. A 3-inning save for John Brebbia. Behind Michael Wacha, who gets his 4th win. Steven Matz gets knocked out early. And the Cardinals even up the series with an easy 9-1 win.
Well, it's a game that you want to wash away. The Cardinals in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th inning scored all their runs. 4 of them unearned. The Mets made 3 errors tonight, and all very costly. So a very ugly game for the Mets. Wacha too much for the offense. Get him tomorrow.
One bright spot for the Mets, the major league debut of Cory Oswalt, who pitched 4 2/3 very efficient innings, gave up just 2 runs and 2 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts, and saved the bullpen for tomorrow. Mets fall to 15-7 on the year as the Cardinals even up the series with a 9-1 win. And there is your game summary. Cardinals win this one 9-1. We'll come back with more from St. Louis in just a moment.